So Vienna Waits is inspired by music, and we've talked about this a bit before, Whitney. We are music lovers, you and I. That was a bond that goes back to when I think we first met, and we're getting to know each other. We love music, and it turns out we both love Billy Joel. We didn't know that about each other, but the song Vienna resonated with us.
It was the lyrics in it, right? It's like, you can get what you want or you can just get old. Hi, I'm Whitney.
And I'm Greg. Welcome to the UNBLOCK Yourself podcast.
Too many of us are stuck on autopilot. We're following a path that seems like it wasn't our choice, leaving us feeling stuck even when life looks good on the outside.
In each episode, we sit down with people who escaped autopilot and are unblocked. They share the stories about what they're doing now and what they did to get there.
You'll leave feeling inspired by the stories you hear, but more importantly, you'll have real tactical steps to get unblocked in your own life. Hey everyone, we are back. We're a few episodes in, and we actually have no guest today on this podcast.
Just you and me.
Yeah, just you and me. And we're starting a bit of a series.
We're going to talk about what is so exciting about the work that we are doing and how we've been through trials, tribulation, and emerged the other side through grit, determination, and one of our core values, which is resilience, and just talk a bit about that.
A question we wanted to start with that we always get. This podcast is called Unblock Yourself, and that's also the name of our program, the Unblock Yourself program. But our company name is Vienna Waits, and that really throws people off. They're like, what does that mean? What's Vienna Waits? We wrote about it, so it is on our website, but maybe you can share a bit more about what that means.
Yeah. So Vienna Waits is inspired by music, and we've talked about this a bit before, Whitney. We are music lovers, you and I. That was a bond that goes back to when I think we first met, and we're getting to know each other. We love music, and it turns out we both love Billy Joel. We didn't know that about each other, but the song Vienna resonated with us. I'd been listening to it for years. I have a tendency to go deep on albums. I love albums, and I found this song years ago from just exploring Billy Joel music, and I always liked it, but I didn't listen to what it was about. But you and I just seemed to tune into it at the same time.
Well, I think we were driving to the cottage or something, and it came on, and you're like, God, I love this song. I'm like, you do? Like, I think we'd never heard
Yeah,
it. And
true.
then we're like, oh, this is such a good song. And we like turned it up and I think like started listening, actually listening to the lyrics.
Yeah, actually, and I think it occurred to us both at the same time that it's a metaphor. The whole thing's just a metaphor.
Yeah.
So yeah, you share, then kind of where we go from there. We tuned in, we both liked it, and then
Well, yeah. Like, I mean, it was the lyrics in it, right? It's like, you can get what you want or you can just get old. And I think that at that point in our lives, because we were thinking about blowing up well, I was anyway, my like work career and what am I going to do next? And it was like, yeah, like I think the lyrics just hit at the right time. And so just that song, I think it stood out. So we started thinking about it. And we're like, we knew we were going to build a business and we didn't know what the name was going to be. We didn't have a plan for that. And there was something about that song that really stood out. And then I think maybe it was like a couple weeks later or something, we happened to have a kid-free evening and we found ourselves uptown in our city and we went to an open mic night, not to perform. Neither of us would.
we haven't been asked that, which
You
has been funny, but no
no,
performing.
no,
We're
no,
listeners.
definitely listeners. Nobody wants to hear me sing anyway. You did at a wedding one time. That was awful. You're like, can you
I didn't
please?
sing or heard you sing.
You
Yeah,
heard,
I did.
yeah.
I can't believe you brought that up. That it requires its own episode.
You didn't divorce me, so that's good.
I don't think we were married yet,
Yeah,
but
true. Well,
it's
you
another
married
matter.
me, so there you go. But anyway, we're at this open mic night, and one of the first, like, this person gets up, and there's a piano, and like the song they start singing, they're like, "Oh, Billy Joel, classic." And Vienna, like, Vienna's a popular song, but it's not that popular. I think it's grown in popularity recently.
I think since we started to like it, then
Yeah,
everybody else got on board.
must be us.
Yeah.
Anyway, he starts playing Vienna. We're like, "What? That's wild." Like, we haven't heard this song, never, like, certainly not an open mic. It was just such a cool moment, and we hadn't heard that song in years, and so anyway, so then we're like, "All right, let's lean into this," and then Vienna Waits was born, so It's kind of where that name comes from.
Yeah, and I think the metaphor carries. It's about the fact that we get so caught up chasing and we forget to really live. And
Hmm.
I think that that is a great marker. And like you said, you can get what you want or you can just get old. That I think just hammers us every single time, even now when we sit down and listen to it.
Yeah,
It's absolutely a mantra we live by.
I know. And I was picturing like an office at some point, or a retreat or something, and there's like quotes or pictures in the quotes, and like not only that lyric, but slow down you crazy child. There's so much gold in that song, and I'm such a nerd for quotes and good lyrics. So anyway, just hit me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think so if we kind of build from that, that's where the name came from, but just the work itself. Yes, we've got this podcast now and we don't have the office with the quotes on the walls and we haven't built our Vienna Waits empire,
Not
so to
yet.
speak. So we're
Not
not yet.
yet.
Well, we're building and I think there's something to what we're trying to do in these conversations and even just doing this work is so often you go, you build the thing, you create this massive success story, and then you reflect back on it and record the podcast and write the book.
Hmm.
And there's something great about that. There's lots of those stories out there. I think one of the things that we felt was important was as we're building this, there are so many great stories to capture along the way. And why wait until we get to the other side? It just feels like we'd be like everybody else.
Hmm.
If we're going to be intentional, we're going to be real and going to be accessible and help people with the programs that we offer. And even in these conversations, it just felt like we can't wait until we get to the end and retrospectively tell
Yeah.
the story that makes us sound like we're these heroes. Nobody really has it figured out, and neither do we. But we're working toward building and making this something that can be helpful to people, which is a big part of why we want to do this.
I think too, like in the this new age AI world, like people just need authenticity. They want to hear stories, the good, the bad, the ugly. They want that vulnerability. And so I think, yeah, like through the program and the podcast, it's like we need to share these stories to help people. And that's helped me a lot, hearing other people, and the things that they've gone through. And we've already had a ton of guests, well, not a ton, but we've had a few guests sharing their stories of resilience and things they've overcome. And I just think that really helps. It's people are people, right? It's, you want to connect with humans, you want to relate to the stories, and it can really help you kind of navigate your own stuff that you're working through.
I would agree. And so I think to one point, this is when people are getting to know us is Vienna Waits and anybody who is again supporting us. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you. For the new people that are getting to know us, I mean, we've had successful careers and we've done work to build teams and sell deals and grow. This is about taking those skills and translating them into something different.
Hmm.
And that's something that we are doing and that we're trying to figure out how to do successfully and create something new. And through our programming, specifically that Unblock program is the Unblock Yourself program is bringing people in who have skills, who have achieved things in their careers, but are finding themselves just feeling a little bit stuck and saying, well, is this really what it's all about? Questions that we've faced. And like you said, Whitney, I think when we have been sharing our stories, people are starting to share theirs with us. And just to share those people who have already come through and been part of the first series of these programs. I mean, we've had somebody who's launched a speaking business, somebody who's struggled with self-worth and valuing the beautiful person that they are for their lives, who has amazing daughters of her own, launching let's call it a brand, but a wellness
Movement.
mission
Yeah.
to movement to
Hmm.
help other women see and recognize the beauty that they have themselves and
Hmm.
bring that to the world. We've had somebody who's had a side hustle concept on the back burner for a decade, bringing it to life and maybe even turning that into a full time job. And
Hmm.
a local legend who's trying to inspire the world to be kinder and launching that and taking it to a whole other level. I think there have been so many inspiring stories starting to come in that while we might just be getting started and we're building and we're trying to build that in public and do it so that others can see it, we're already seeing other people being so or accomplishing so much. And we've got to tell, I think, not just our own story, but tell some of their stories too, which this podcast gives us a chance to do, which is exciting.
Yeah, for sure. I do think we need to, it sounds like, oh my God, you guys are so amazing. You're doing all these wonderful things. I think we need to
So,
be a bit
yeah. Oh, people are tuning out now. Like, what is that? What? Who?
like,
These
yeah.
people are
So we actually
narcissists.
yeah. So I actually think we should share some of the ways that we've messed up along the way. Because to get to this point, like our early entrepreneur journey, which we're still on, but we've had definitely some bumps along the way, to say the least. And I think we should share some just so that people are like, oh yeah, okay, cool, you're human. Because we do have all these wonderful stories, and we're getting like, these success stories, and it's all wonderful, but it's not coming without, we're collecting some bruises as we go.
There are some
You had
bump.
the first one, so I'm gonna
Oh, thanks
I'm
for
gonna
that.
make you tell the time that you messed up.
I will say this, that we were doing great at building this business until we started. Like all the ideas were amazing. And then we started doing the business and then it started to get messy. So thank you for the opportunity to share. It feels like a good one. We've apologized to the individual in question,
Yeah, and they will know who they are.
but these are just some early fails that we felt were great to reflect on. So we launched our first program in January and we promoted it through our channels. And we said we've got to celebrate when the first person signs up and pays. That is, then we're in business and away we go. And sure enough, we posted out there, we got a sign up, and all of a sudden money showed up. And we went, what? Okay, it's real now.
And also, it was like the best money, genuinely, that I think either of us have ever made, because we were like, we made a thing, we created a business, we put it out there, and someone paid us. And yeah, we haven't delivered anything yet, but they signed up. They're like, yes, we want to be part of it. It was a huge moment.
We're high fiving, we're excited, and then we, in our excitement, I say we. This is definitely a royal we. This is me. I sit back down. I immediately go, thank you so much. Blah blah blah. Send the email back, and I send it, and we continue our high five, and just we're fired up. Like, let's go get the next one. Here we go. And moments later, we get another email back from this person who says, "Yep, excited to get started. Just gotta let you know, it doesn't feel great when you sign up for a thing and you get an email back when they put the wrong name on the email." So
Oh, yeah.
first customer, and our first thank you email was addressed to the wrong person. Wrong name,
Yeah.
not the best.
Not the best starting foot to start on.
Yeah, and then this other one, I'll tell it on your behalf. So second one was, so in our programming we sent out a workbook, and this was fortunately digital, not the printed one, because we had these printed beautiful workbooks that you lovingly created, Whitney. But
Mm.
the digital copy of the workbook, fortunately, went out and we had people work through it. And this local legend that we referred to earlier, who's a branding mastermind who very, generously took the program, had his own mission to accomplish, opens it up and is working through it and points out that where we said assess your values, we had actually put in asses your values, which is a minor typo, but just laughable. And also, when you're putting your work out into the world and you have a branding guru pointing out to you that you put asses into your
One
instead
too
of
many
assess,
S's there,
yeah, get your
guys.
asses right.
Yeah.
So those
Yeah.
are two good ones, but I think you take the cake.
I know I
Yours
might.
is the best.
Okay, so this is mine. So yeah, this was kind of a big one. So we put out, we've launched Vienna Waits. We put it out on LinkedIn, and we're feeling really good about it. Like, people are connecting with us and checking out what we're doing, and that's all cool. And we've updated our profiles and our headlines and all of that to say like what we do now. And a lot of like our messaging was around this thing of like helping people get off autopilot. So that's like live more intentionally, and we're here to help you get off autopilot. So that was kind of my tagline or my headline on LinkedIn. And good, cool, great. Like again,
Sure, it'll follow a celebrating. Way to go! Yeah,
lots of
new
people
names.
messaging and
Yeah.
stuff. So that was cool. That was exciting. But then I get a private LinkedIn message from someone who I don't know that well, but he's very well respected. And I think we're becoming friends now. So we're getting to know them a bit better now. But at the time, I didn't really know him at all. And he very politely pointed out that on mobile, my LinkedIn profile headline said, Whitney, helping people get off. And it was like dot, 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 because it couldn't all fit.
Oh.
So I was like, oh my, anyway, like the most, I just still feel so embarrassed about that.
What kind of business is this?
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, like what are you doing? So I was like, oh my God. So anyway, pro
Pro tip
tip, make sure you check your responsive design on all
on all devices.
mobile, tablets, desktop, all the places before you just put something out. So I had to definitely update that. But yeah, I might take the
That
cake
that one
more
takes
than
the
any.
cake. It's my favorite for sure.
It's
It
so embarrassing. The world around us is rapidly changing. Over the next 2 years, up to 60% of jobs are considered at risk of being replaced or significantly changed by AI. Now more than ever, the world needs more authenticity, more humanity, more you. That's exactly why we built Waypoint Retreat. But it's not your average retreat. This September, we're spending 3 days bringing together entrepreneurs, aspiring founders, creators, and changemakers to finally give their ideas the time and space they deserve. We'll hit pause and take a step back to enjoy the natural surroundings at a beautiful glamping resort just outside of Toronto. We'll get inspired to discover our inner rock stars and prioritize the legacy we want to leave behind. And the experience continues with 3 months of post support to help you take action. We're being intentional about who joins us. So if you've been carrying around an idea that you want to bring to life, we'd love to see you there. You can learn more at vienna-waits.com/retreat. Now back to the episode.
So all of this to say, we are not perfect. We are
No, far from it.
we're building, just like the people who are in our programs, just like the people who are coming to the retreat and joining us at Waypoint in September, which is great. And for us, choosing to start was the big thing. But these missteps and mistakes, I mean, they kind of harden us as we go. And just before we close off today, we wanted to talk a little bit about that one core value of ours, which is the first in this series, which is resilience, because it was hard to start, but now that we've started, now that we're making these mistakes, and some days feel better than others, certainly, it just takes a lot of resilience for us to keep moving through.
Yeah. I know you wrote a blog about it actually, Greg, recently, but resilience, like when you think about it, it's not something that you're born with, right? People aren't born resilient. It's definitely something that you build and you kind of acquire as you live and go through different challenges and things. So we're kind of, I mean, not us, but everyone is kind of constantly building that as they go.
Sometimes it's like, oh, you're such a resilient person, and some people can be feel like you
Hmm.
are or you aren't that, and that's just not what we believe.
And so, well, when we built our Unblock Yourself program, we kind of went out looking for, all right, we know people in order to have go through change, right? To make a change and do something hard. Like we know that people need resilience. So after doing a bit more research, we actually ended up building out our own framework. And you kind of coined the term or the acronym for it, which is POSSE, POSSE. You were very excited about it because you're like, yeah, posse, it's us. We're like a group of people in the program, and we're like the posse. Like I don't love that, but it made sense.
I still stand by it. The idea of you have a posse. A posse makes you resilient. It's hard to be resilient on your
Yeah.
own. So it connects. I think it lands. And and so the posse framework, I mean, we have more research to do to build it out, to reinforce what this is all about. But the key spoiler on this whole thing is that it's a 5-part exercise that we have people do to self-assess how much or how they would rate themselves across these 5 dimensions, give some sense of how resilient that they are or that they may be, and then what you can do about that to grow your resilience. And absolutely the number one thing, just fast forwarding to the end, to become more resilient is to do more hard things. But in preparing for the hard thing, what are those different things that might make a person resilient? And so the P, so POSSE, P is practice. What experience do you have doing hard things in your life? And hard things is relative to the individual. What you have found difficult and challenging, Whitney, is not the same as what I have found difficult and challenging. Your upbringing, as we've shared, you had all kinds of things you had to navigate that I never did. And I faced something more
Hmm.
challenging than what people would self describe as, well, gee, I could never imagine that. But that's not the point. It's
Yeah.
you as an individual. What has been a challenging experience that you've faced?
Hmm.
The O is for optimism. Are you somebody who defaults to feeling in control, an internal locus of control or an external locus of control? And
Hmm.
if you're somebody who has that more internal sense, like I have more control or a sense of control of what's happening in the world, that gives you a better toolkit to be more resilient by default. If you're more external, kind of like things are happening to me and you can self assess on that, something to be aware of and
Hmm.
a part of your resilience toolkit that you need to build. S, structure. Do you have systems and tools? We talk about this a lot just between you and I. This is where I feel like in our relationship, I brought some structure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'd say I did. Not like I had a calendar and, I was a responsible adult. But yeah, you have way more systems and structure in place that
And
if something terrible was to happen to us now, like, thank God for you, because I don't, yeah, you keep things in check.
the idea here is just that. If you face a challenging situation, do you have systems to carry you through that? Or is it just a bit of a mess? So, again, self assessing there. S, the second S is for support. Do you have a strong network of support to help you navigate those challenging times? You, Whitney, are somebody that, I mean, you are just, you've had incredible people
Mhm.
around you through your life that have just been great and supportive friends for you.
Yeah, that's a huge one, right?
Yeah.
The people that are around you. It might not be your direct family. It's just having people that you can call on and are there for you, got your back.
Yeah. And I think if you, so we have people kind of list out who are those people in facing a hard thing. And so that's the second S. And then finally, the E is emotional regulation. So how high are your highs and how low are your lows? And Arthur C. Brooks, in his book Build the Life You Want, builds this or built out this framework that has these 4 different personality types. And so we have people select which of those 4. Uh, if you're kind of your highs are highs and you tend to just be high, then you're a cheerleader. If you're kind of low and you tend to stay low, then you're what you call a poet. And then the others are I have high highs and really low lows. Whitney, we've identified you as a mad scientist. Uh,
Oh yeah. High highs, low lows, no in between.
and then the judge,
You love
yeah, I
that.
do love that every time. And then if you're a little bit narrower, it's you don't go really high, and you don't go really low. You're kind of pretty consistent. You're this judge, and that's sort of me in our
Yeah.
scenario. But having an understanding of each of those 5 dimensions allows you to then contextualize, okay, am I a resilient person? Do I have these tools in my toolkit that can help me face a challenging situation? And if you do, then you have more to lean on. And if you don't, then there are things you can do to practice and build those things, build that resilient skill. So that's the POSSE model. P O
That's the
S
posse
S
model.
E.
There you
I
go.
think we'll do more with that.
So clever, right? Maybe someone will pick that up from us. Maybe we'll sell that one day.
I think it'd be good. I think there's more we could do with it. It's been useful, and so we wanted to
It has been, yeah.
share it here in case it's
Yeah,
useful to any of you.
one of our values is being generous. So
Oh,
that's,
you're
yeah,
giving it away. Well, that's another one for us to talk about in another episode.
yeah, that's a different one. But yeah, we do use that exercise. It's incredibly helpful. And it's really just coming down to action, right? Everything we do and we talk about is like, let's get people moving. Let's get them actually like taking action. And you need to be resilient to do that. And, doing hard things is hard, I was going to say, but making change is hard.
Hmm.
And so you kind of need to build that. You need to get a check of where you might need a little extra support. Maybe you don't have the support system. Maybe you need a bit of help there. Maybe you need a bit more optimism and need to work on that. But there's different elements and things that you can do and work on.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's people in our program and people on the podcast that we talk to that are incredibly resilient, and we just love those stories, and we're going to continue sharing them as we move forward.
Yeah, we're very excited for an upcoming episode. Won't give away who it is, but I think that'll be a core theme of that episode, is just digging into resilience and becoming the hero of your own story and overcoming hardship. But I think it's a central theme in all of these conversations. So we are going to get back to our interviews, but we just want to mix it up. We want to keep it interesting, and we will continue to do that because I know, Whitney, another value of ours is adventure, and so we're just going to keep that going.
Definitely. It is definitely adventure. We do like to switch things up and change things up. But yeah, one last thought before we go. Natalie Dumond, if you haven't listened to the episode we had with Natalie Dumond, please do. It was such a great episode. She shares a ton of valuable insight just on shame and her move out of corporate to, her own adventure in building something and doing something brave on her own. So that's great. But she had told us really early on, like, if you could help just one person, would you do it? And, I kind of want to ask that to anyone who's listening. Like, if there's something that you can do and you know that you could help just one person, would you do it? So anyway, give that some thought. I think that's helpful. We have now helped at least one person, which is cool. We were a bit more aggressive with our goal. We picked 1 million people to help. And so we need a lot of listeners and people going through our program, but we're getting there. And you know what? We've already helped one person. So guess what? It's all worth it.
It is all worth it. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for everyone who's been part of the journey with us so far. We look forward to sharing more of these episodes and more amazing stories in episodes to come. So thank you, and we will be back.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to the UNBLOCK Yourself podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to follow and rate the podcast. Your ratings and feedback mean the world to us. We'd love to stay connected with you via our bi-weekly newsletter called the Vienna 5, where we share ideas and advice that we found helpful on our own journey to live with more intention. You can also find us on LinkedIn and Instagram. For those Gen Z listeners out there, no, we're not on TikTok. But if enough of you ask for it, we'll just have to do it at some point. The links to find us on social are in the show notes. The UNBLOCK Yourself podcast is edited and produced by Bespoke Productions Hub. Thank you for being here.